On tour day, we usually have a badge for every person. This tour is so big, we don't have enough badges. So we're giving one to the driver, and we're listing 5 people, 4 people, 3 people, whoever's in the car with them. If you want to bring any treats with you or anything, you can. If you want to share your treats, or people that would like to get... But I got to tell you, when you give out treats, don't give them all of these dogs. You're going to see a lot more. The animals that you see here are not really from these particular mountains, but maybe on the other side. But people dump them around the mountains. They go to picnic areas, campgrounds, they dump them. It's a beautiful day. You've been in the car a couple hours. You're just hardly tasting what they go through out there. They have no water. They come in at any age. They live out their life here. This is care for life. Everybody here is here for life. Our hospitals are here to care only for these animals. Care for life. We don't take homes away from anybody. These animals are alive because you help support them every single month. Everybody's check is supporting these animals. Look it up on the internet, see how much money goes to the animals compared to everybody else. This is what you're paying for. How this organization grew and became the largest animal shelter in the world was just by telling people for 20-odd years over and over that animals are children. I mean, I write about them that way. They are children, and the people who, you know, support this organization recognize that they are children, and they tell people, and they tell people, and they tell people. We've mailed millions of pieces of mail all over this country for 20 years, and a lot of people get the idea that animals are children through, you know, through the letters. So that has been my theme from the beginning, is just simply telling people what I feel and what I see. And if you feel and see what, you know, what I do, then, you know, help me do this. And we've been able to build this largest of all shelters because of people like that.
Write all your own stories, or
yes.
You never write?
Yes, I write all my own stuff, always, always, always. All right, we're going to go up to the hill because you have a nice perspective and I can show you some more things. This is an evolution. There's nothing planned here. If I had ever planned, well, you can never plan this in your wildest dreams. I didn't plan anything. I had one guiding principle from the very, 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 very first day. What's right for the animals? If you look over here at these straw bale houses with their color coding, materials for that cost $400. So we can build a lot more, and they're a lot more efficient. How we put them together? How we put them together is by testing. We take them around with other eligible dogs and see whose tail wags the fastest. As soon as the wag, then we know. Then we put them, they fall in love. Look at these dogs by, look at those tails. I mean, they did that when they saw each other. Looks like a dog we had, Bundy. We named him after Buck Bundy, married with children. This was all raw land that you're standing on. And I was sitting on that, what I thought was a hill. I was sitting up there. And I was aiming with my camera down here, and I just brought Buck in the day before. And I'm shooting, very relaxed. So, oh, this is the life. I'm going to take about 10 minutes and get the shot. So I'm relaxing, and then I'm looking for Buck. I can't find him. He was in the next yard. He had jumped the fence. He was in with those dogs. And I went, whoa. We didn't know we had a jumper. Next thing you know, he's back here. I get a couple of shots. Then he's over there. And I'm, you know, but this is incredible. We have a jumper. I've got to get him out of here because we're going to lose him. Well, while I'm doing this, He jumped there again. Get some shots for you guys. And I go, wait a minute. He's afraid of me. He's new. He's lived out there for a while. If he jumped this fence, he was free. There's all this land out here. He's gone forever. And I'm asking why. Why isn't he jumping? And I get this thing from Buck. And if you believe it, you know, if you don't, well, it's still true. I get this thought. He goes, no, you don't understand. You're not fencing me in. You're not fencing me in. You're fencing the cruel world out. When you walk around and you say, oh, your dogs are so happy. Yeah, because they have their home. This is their yard. This is their home. When I used to have exercise yards and let dogs out, I have this big yard that I had to have for exercise. They'd go out, take a leak, come back,
That's true.
and pound on the door to get back in. 10 minutes later, they're jumping all over the doghouse telling their neighbors that they just had a wonderful pee. And that was it. They really love their home. They love their mates. They love their neighbors. They love that they're fed. They love all this stuff. So, and some people tell me, you know, your dogs have a bigger yard than I have in my house. Every cat in this organization is feral or was feral. If they're super friendly, then they were feral kittens that adapted right away. The ones up above here they were brought in as adults, and they're mostly going to be up there. They're feral. You like the new cat houses? These are going to be, we have a total of 80 columns going in, sluice boxes connecting them at angles, and the cats are going to roam around and have a hell of a good time here. This is under construction here. This used to be San Francisco with the Golden Gate Bridge. Now we're making Monet's garden with a gazebo. Thank you for coming. Thank you, and thank you for your help. Remember, we wouldn't be here without you. This is all dependent on you guys.
The nice thing about coming up here and working for Delta and doing work with Delta is that you can think on a completely different plane of thought. So you see a patient without having to explain to the client different cost options, different risk factors. You can actually decide what's the best course of action to take, and here at Delta, that's what gets done, irrespective of the financial situation. If I run into a patient here that needs a specialist, they go see a specialist. And it's nice to, at least part of the time, to be able to step away and not be bound by reality, I guess you might say. And the fact that these animals here receive a quality of care that is unsurpassed. And it's nice to be involved in that. The staff here at Delta is highly motivated to provide a level of care because it goes beyond just working in a vet hospital. They are aware of the background of most of these animals. Unfortunately, these are animals that were given up on by society. They were taken out in the wild and dumped in the forest with the ignorant belief, unfortunately, that they'd be able to forage for themselves. These are domesticated animals that have been abandoned, and many of them are old and diseased when they find them. And I think that the nice thing about the staff that works here is that they're aware of this, and they're aware of the motivation of Delta in and of itself and what they stand for. And so they provide a level of care that goes, I think, above and beyond many of the private vet hospitals in the state. They have a large manpower need here, and they're very careful in screening the people to make sure that they're compassionate and they're not here just for the paycheck. These people are dedicated, and they put in a lot of hours above and beyond the call of duty. And given the population that they have, we'll run into just about everything that you hear about in the textbook, and some things that frankly I've never seen in my private practice. Case in point, I did an entropion surgery in a cat, an eyelid problem, just a couple of weeks ago here, that I've, in 16, 17 years of private practice, I've never done an entropion surgery on a cat in my own private practice. Cancer, unfortunately, is a real common phenomenon here. The population is getting older, and one of the things that we see a lot of, unfortunately, are tumors. And in private practice, due to the long-term poor prognosis and the extreme expense of both surgical and chemotherapy intervention, we don't get to do a lot of it in private practice situation. It's more of a matter of keeping them comfortable, and euthanasia is very often the treatment of choice in a private practice situation. But here we're able to determine, with biopsies, find out the exact cell type, the appropriate chemotherapy. If radiation therapy is necessary, the animals leave the facility here and go to the place where it's necessary to get it. So with the geriatric population out here, and this being basically a no euthanasia shelter, we take care of a lot of cancer patients that I don't see, or I see but don't get to treat in a private practice situation. I alluded earlier to a phrase that gets bantered about in veterinary medicine and in private shelter organizations, the term no-kill shelter. What that actually means is that, unfortunately, county-run facilities and many other private facilities have a time limit that they can keep pets. If they don't adopt these animals out in a predetermined period of time, these animals are euthanized. The situation here at Delta is diametrically opposed to that. When an animal is rescued from the wild, irrespective of their chronic health or their age, these animals have a place where they're going to receive care, irrespective of cost, until they die of natural causes. Now, that's not to say that an animal that's terminally ill and suffering unduly would not be euthanized. Certainly, when it becomes obvious that their pain and suffering is beyond management, animals are put to sleep at Delta, but it's never because of a lack of funds to provide treatment, even if it means a specialist is necessary. And it's never because they're unadoptable. It's never because of just old age. These animals receive the care that's necessary.
Like many of my colleagues, had perhaps forgotten exactly why I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to be a veterinarian when I was a kid simply because I loved animals. And I loved the science of making them better. And then suddenly, as years passed and maturity and the input of business and employees and all that started putting external pressures, I lost track of the fact that veterinary medicine is taking care of animals. And my involvement with Leo Grillo has allowed me to go back to that. I'm able to come in here and truly take care of veterinary medicine and the animal's well-being. So I've been able to get back to just dealing with the science of healthcare as opposed to the business of healthcare. And I'm certain I will practice medicine much longer than I would have if I had continued in the private sector.